The president of John B. Levy Company, here to talk to us about commercial real estate. Is it still the big bomb that everyone thinks is going to explode, or has it been priced into the market, all this fear?
Yeah, I think we'll take the other side of the trade. I think it's already dropped. Commercial real estate values are down 35 to 45% across the board, all property types. So it's kind of like the stock market. The stock market was down 35 or 45%. The problem is commercial real estate, we haven't started to go back up. The market obviously has. So I think it's priced in right now.
You know, John, I hear a lot of people, you mentioned it's a lot like the equity markets as well, and people are waiting. You know, people still are not fully convinced yet that this isn't going to go back down. Yeah. And every time we do have a dip, a nice 5–7% dip, money goes back to work. Yeah. Is that same dynamic working in commercial real estate right now?
Well, not really, because we're really a lagging indicator. We're like the tail of the snake. So the snake head has started to go up. The economy's gotten a little bit better, and the stock market reflects that. But the tail can still be going down. So I think we'll see some movement around the bottom in commercial real estate well into 2010. So we're kind of the lagging part of the economy, not the leading part, which theoretically the stock market is.
So just real quick, maybe not getting any worse, but not getting any better through 2010, just sort of right where we are.
Yeah, I think we're kind of a good buying opportunity if you want to make that argument, because we are at the bottom and we really haven't started up.
Is it a buying opportunity? I mean, are we seeing, if you're saying it's going to take some time, then this is a buying opportunity you got to be really patient with then. Are we seeing lending to these guys at all, or is that still really tough to come by?
No, lending's really still tough. We really have a credit crunch. It's continuing. I do think it's a buying opportunity. Some smart people with a little time horizon are saying there's going to be inflation. Real estate's a very good inflation at commercial real estate. Not against a lot of inflation, but against moderate inflation. So I think that there's some smart money looking, and we're starting to see what we call, cracks in the ice, people starting to dip their toes back in. So some good news, not a great news story, but I think we can see that better days are ahead, but probably not tomorrow, and probably not a rapid increase in value.
I know we can see the financials of some of these, the publicly traded companies, assignment properties and things like that, but one of our viewers, Greg from Los Angeles, asked the question, or the statement rather, there's still a ton of leverage in the commercial real estate market, and I don't see it being as rosy as you see it being in terms of right now finding that bottom. Are still a lot of these companies highly levered right now, and we allowed this to happen over the last few years, and now we kind of really need to take that step back in that regard?
Well, there's probably more leverage on the private side than there is on the public side, because a lot of the public REITs have raised a ton of money to delever. But on the private side, there's no question we still have some over-leveraged companies, some over-leveraged borrowers, and part of that's because we have long-term leases in commercial real estate, so we're still riding some of the income that was generated 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So it'll take a little while for that to flush through the system, and that's why I don't think you're going to see an immediate turnaround. But I do think that smart money is looking very definitely at it now, because we really haven't started a strong upward trend.
What are they looking at as far as commercial real estate goes? Are they looking at office buildings? Are they looking at strip malls? What properties do you see turning first? Well,
I think that you could make the argument that apartments are going to be the strongest, perhaps because the housing market is starting to come back, perhaps because Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are the only real financing sources that are in the market every day. The weakest is probably retail. I don't think that surprises anybody. And then there's a real bias against hotels. Hospitality's just been hit hard. But the interesting thing about hospitality is hospitality has 24-hour leases. So they go down the quickest, but they come back the quickest. You can raise or lower your rates every day in a hotel. So you might look at that.
All right, John, TARP TARP saved us from financial Armageddon. I think most people agree with that. But since that point, it really hasn't done much.
No.
Now we get the word that we want to see it used to encourage smaller banks and community banks to start lending and help the homeowners. Is this going to help commercial real estate at all? I mean, is this going to get into the smaller banks and help some of the smaller, more local firms rebound a little bit and get some lending?
We've been hearing about that. We haven't been seeing much. What we've been seeing is the old argument that, well, I'm saving my money either for the loans that I'm stuck with, in other words, the ones that I can't get rid of, they can't pay off, or for my existing customers that need new deals. We haven't seen a lot of solicitation of new loans. And that's especially true in the big banks. And in the smaller, in the community, and the regional banks, they have a much larger percentage of commercial real estate than the big banks do. So it's even more of a problem. So if TARP was going to be the savior, we haven't seen it. The TALF bill, which was supposed to encourage securitized lending, there's been one TALF deal. There has not been a stampede. We have seen again, cracks in the ice. We're now on the third CMBS deal this year, which is 3 more than you might have expected. So a little bit better, but as we view it, kind of a mile wide and an inch deep. There are not many people that can take the types of low leverage that the TALF bill will allow, or the types that the CMBS market as presently structured allows.
So just to bring it all together, you don't see this being a 90s redo?
No, it's definitely not.
But yeah, at the same time, you're thinking first quarter, second quarter, 2010 earliest before we see rebounds.
Yeah, I think the big difference between the early 90s and now is in the early 90s, the government, through the Resolution Trust Company, the RTC, encouraged what we'd call foreclose and dispose. Today, what they're saying is extend and pretend. So they don't want the banks to throw things out. They're not looking to liquidate the banking system a la the savings and loan. So this is a very different government focus, one that I think they get it, but it's going to have a different result, and it's going to take longer for the troubles to work their way through the system.
We're going to have you on first quarter next year, early part, so we can just kind of continue to see how this progresses. Good to see you, John.
Always nice.
Thanks,
John Levy from John B. Levy and Company, getting us up to date on commercial real estate, and we need to do that every now and then because it's something that a lot of people, we own homes and houses, and residential real estate is a little bit closer to home than everybody else out there.
But I do think a lot of people kept, we've been saying for a while and hearing for a while that it's Armageddon and the world's going to fall apart on us, and a lot of people were worried that commercial real estate was the next thing.